Hello, my lovely rose garden. This is Avalon.
And Ray.
And welcome back to another chapter of Throne of Glass. Now, you might be sitting there thinking to yourself, geez, Avalon, you sure are hard on this book. I bet you're not that hard on other books. At least not your own books. Well, you would be very wrong. And you can find out how wrong you would be by joining our Patreon to watch our exclusive new series, Keep It in the Drafts,
where we get to read Avalon's super old writing.
We're currently working our way through the original draft of Alice from like 2010.
Avalon is way harder on it than I am.
I'm so hard on it that Ray has to remind me that I'm not the worst author in the world.
I have to remind her that this was written by someone in literal high school.
And eventually we'll work our way down to middle school, and it'll be even worse. And
I'll have to remind Avalon that this is written by a little middle schooler.
And that'll be insane, because at least you're familiar-ish with, the original run of Alice, because when it was posted on DeviantArt,
back in the day,
you were actually following me and read it.
Mm-hmm.
The middle school stuff, you've never seen before.
Yeah, I've only ever heard you kind of talk about it in hushed whispers and terror seeping into your features.
So if you want to join us in this public humiliation...
Well, semi-public.
Semi-public. Exclusive access humiliation.
You get access to this exclusive cringe.
You can go on Patreon, and for just $2 a month, you get access to that series. You get early access to videos like this one about a month before they're made public. And also our Discord channel. And that's not even counting some of the better rewards you get at higher tiers that involve things like your name in the video credits or getting your name in the books.
Yeah, in the book acknowledgements. Exciting.
Lots of cool stuff, so go check it out. And if you can't afford that $2 donation, no worries, times are hard. Just follow us on Patreon, and there are some freebies for followers as well. And with that out of the way, I think I've gotten to the point in the video where I can start swearing. So
let's fucking go.
Yeah, I learned from Danny Mata today, watching one of his videos, that I guess YouTube doesn't like it if you swear too early.
Know that?
No, I probably did, but I forgot.
I actually heard about that. I think it was a gaming channel like some years ago that told me about that. And yeah, it's like the relative idea for it is like 10 to 20 seconds. You don't want to say any fuck words.
Yeah, you don't want to get yourself fucked by the algorithm, but we're in like the 3-minute mark now. We can do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I probably knew it but forgot. I mean, we do have like that little intro that plays for 15 seconds though, so it's probably fine. Anyway,
it's fine.
Now that I could say fuck unabashedly, we're gonna go ahead and start chapter 20. Alyssocles closed her book and sighed. What a terrible ending. She stood from the chair.
Us reading this book. What a terrible ending.
And beginning, and middle, and filler, and again, we won't know what the book was or what it was about, just a book. She stood from the chair, unsure where she was going, and walked out of her bedroom. She'd been willing to apologize to Cole when he found her sparring with Nehemia that afternoon, but his behavior, she paced through her rooms. He had more important things to do than guard the world's most famous criminal, did he? She didn't enjoy being cruel, but hadn't he deserved it? I don't even remember what they're referencing. It's been a bit since we've recorded, because since the last time we recorded an episode, we've gone back to work. So our focus has been elsewhere.
Yeah, it happens.
It happens. Oh, well. It probably wasn't important.
No.
I almost 100% can assure it was not important. She'd really made a fool out of herself by mentioning the vomiting. Please stop bringing it up. And she'd called him all sorts of nasty things. Did he trust her or hate her? Neither one of those things, in fact. He does not trust you, and he doesn't care enough to hate you.
He dislikes you. That's about it.
Alysicles looked at her hands and realized she had wrung them so badly that her fingers were red. How had she gone from the most feared prisoner in Endovier to this sappy mess? I don't know if I'd call this sappy. It seems like you're just experiencing a consequence and you don't know how to deal with it.
Why are you wringing your hands over this? Why are you freaking out?
Why do you care?
Yeah, this is weird.
She had greater matters to worry about, like the test tomorrow.
Yes.
Oh, good. Finally, another test. God. And this dead champion. You're not worried about him.
Yeah.
She'd already altered the hinges on all her doors so they squealed loudly any time they opened. If someone entered her room, she'd know well in advance. Oh, hey, something a capable assassin would do. Nice. Yeah. Finally. It's only taken until page 143 for her to do something that is smart and makes sense. And she'd managed to embed some stolen sewing needles into a bar of soap for a makeshift miniature pike. It was better than nothing, especially if this murderer had a taste for champion blood. She forced her hands to her side, shaking her unease, and strode into the music and gaming room. She could not play billiards or cards by herself, but... Alysicles eyed the pianoforte. She used to play. Oh, she'd loved to play. Loved music. She's going to play Claire de Lune for us. The way music could break and heal and make everything seem possible and heroic.
I'm sure you couldn't do that after your mentor broke all your fingers.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. And
I remember this being brought up when we first read it, where it's all like, oh yeah, she has this thing where she used to play piano. And that's all like, oh, what? You mean breaking your fingers didn't make your fingers come back more stronger and more dexterous? You mean to say that it's actually, he crippled you, like, permanently? Especially because this is before, like, the medical science that we have.
See, that's assuming that she's even not good at it anymore, which I'm sure she could still play with the best of them. I'm sure this didn't have any effects at all.
Shut
up. I was just about to say that exact same thing. Also, someone, I don't know if I brought this up already, but someone in the Discord chat, when that chapter went up, because patrons get it almost a month in advance.
Yeah, patrons get it instantly after it's edited.
Yeah, I try to keep enough of these recorded that patrons are getting these a month early. But someone in our Discord chat brought up that if this guy, if we really wanted to have him come off as a bastard who would willingly harm her for his own perceived benefit and didn't want her to be fucking useless with that hand forever, he could have just broken her arm.
Yeah.
Because there's nowhere near as many nerve endings and tendons, and, the arm tends to heal a little bit easier, so it would have been way less risky to
breaking the hand,
break the arm.
Breaking the hand, it's like, you're not coming back from that exactly the same as you went in. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, again, still stupid and over the top, but if you wanted to go for that kind of, he's really cruel and doesn't care about her well-being and that kind of vibe, just break the arm. Yeah. Same results.
Well, and also, it's this falls on the whole, if you break a bone, it heals back stronger. No, it doesn't.
No,
That's
it doesn't.
a lie.
That's an old wives' tale.
Yeah. It's don't ever let anyone lie to you and say that. It is scientifically inaccurate.
Speaking of things that are scientifically inaccurate, this entire fucking book.
Just keep going so I can lie down and die.
Okay. Carefully, as if approaching a sleeping person, Alysicles walked to the large instrument. Why? She pulled out the wooden bench, wincing at the loud scraping sound it made. Folding back the heavy lid, she pushed her feet on the pedals, testing them. She eyed the smooth ivory keys, and then the black keys, which were like the gaps between teeth. Okay. She had been good once, perhaps better than good. Arabin Hamill, again, we will only ever refer to him by his full name, made her play for him whenever they saw each other. She wondered if Arabin knew she was out of the mines. Would he try to free her if he did? She still didn't dare to face the possibility of who might have betrayed her. Things had been such a haze when she'd been captured. In 2 weeks, she'd lost Sam and her... Here's Sam again.
Sam.
No one cares about Sam.
Sam, no last name given.
Sam and her own freedom, and lost something of herself in those blurry days, too. Sam. I don't care about Sam. What would he make of all this? If he'd been alive when she was captured...
If you wanted to have us care about Sam, you should have brought him up in the first 10 chapters at some point. We don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, we're in chapter 20 and she's having a flirtationship with Kaol and Dorian. Why is Sam even worthy of... Who the fuck cares?
Who the fuck is Sam?
If he'd been alive when she was captured, he would have had her out of the royal dungeons before the king even got word of her imprisonment. But Sam, like her, had been betrayed, and sometimes the absence of him hit her so hard that she forgot how to breathe. She touched a lower note. It was deep and throbbing, full of sorrow and anger. Again, just... What is the purpose of putting this here? What narrative or characterization purpose does the inclusion of Sam provide? No one cares. I have never seen anyone, including fans of Throne of Glass, ever talk about Sam. No one gives a fuck. His name is Sam, for fuck's sake.
That is rich coming from you, Sam Gamgee Stan.
Sam in Lord of the Rings. First of all, that's not even his real name. Secondly...
But it's the name that he was given in the book, so it might as well be.
And secondly...
And that's the name you call him. I never hear you call him by his proper Hobbit name.
Regardless, let me finish. There is point and purpose to him being named Sam. Something simple and relatable is because he is simple and relatable. He is a common man in this realm of lords and ladies. Even fucking Frodo is like landed gentry compared to fucking Sam the gardener, okay? But it is Sam the gardener who ultimately saves the world with just hard work and being pure of heart. And...
But you can't say that no one ever gives a shit about a Sam.
No one gives a shit about Sam in this book.
That's not what you said.
Well, let me clarify then my point.
Yes.
My point being here that in this book we've got fucking Selena Sardothian and Dorian and Kaol and Nehemia and Arabin Hamel.
Arabin Hamel.
And then even
Sam.
Even the other fucking champions who have been mentioned so far, like Bill the Eye Eater, is dead.
Dead as fuck.
So Bill is dead, and Sam is presumably dead, or at least dead in narrative sense. He has a normal-ass name in a world full of non-normal names, and unlike in Lord of the Rings where that means something, here all it means is that this is a throwaway character that you should not care about.
This is a placeholder name for a character that won't impact the plot in any way.
And yet, for some reason, now in chapter 20 of 55, now SJM wants us to give a shit about Sam. And that's what baffles me. I'm vexed.
Oh, I'm vexed. You vexed me, SJM. Oh.
My arch nemesis, that hack fraud, SJM. Gingerly, with one hand, she tapped out a simple, slow melody on the higher keys. Echoes, shreds of memories arising out of the void of her mind. Her rooms were so silent that the music seemed obtrusive. She moved her right hand, playing upon the flats and sharps. It was a piece she used to play again and again until Arabin would yell at her to play something else. She played a chord, then another, added in a few silver notes from her right hand, pushed once on a pedal, and was gone. The notes burst from her fingers, staggering at first, but then more confidently as the emotion in the music took over. It was a mournful piece, but it made her into something clean and new. Simple and clean, perhaps?
When you walk away, you don't hear me say, please.
She played a chord, then another. Oh, sorry, I already read that part. She was surprised that her hands had not forgotten, that somewhere in her mind, after a year of darkness and slavery, music was still alive and breathing, because you don't have to practice and maintain that kind of a skill. That somewhere between the notes was Sam. She forgot about time as she drifted.
Somewhere between the notes was Sam.
For me, yes, but not the Sam you're thinking of. Do 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 do. She forgot about time as she
Avalon wants to be somewhere else so bad right now, and that place is the Shire.
Between pieces, voicing the unspeakable, opening old wounds, playing and playing as the sound forgave and saved her. What the fuck does that mean, Goofy?
Obviously, the notes are forgiving and saving her.
For what?
Don't worry about it.
What does that mean, Goofy? What the fuck does that mean? Anyway, time skip Tildy.
What is Kingdom Hearts anyway?
The door. I don't fucking know. Alright. Oh, it's not a time skip Tildy. It's a POV shift Tildy. Because we really needed that 2 pages of Velisicles. POV Tildy. Ooh. Leaning against the doorway, Dorian stood, utterly transfixed. Okay, this is just going to be a small pet peeve with editing here, because as much as I do love a little bit of, mixing up my sentences and having stuff like this probably too often in my sentences if I'm purely, speaking truth, my editor catches a lot of these and makes me change them. I mean, makes, in quotes, I have the final say, but this is something that my editor would have pointed out and just been like, just have it, Dorian stood against the doorway, utterly transfixed. Yeah. It's faster, it's neater. Like, leaning against the doorway, Dorian stood, is a little repetitive and muddy.
Yeah.
These are just small syntax things that can take your writing from passable to very cohesive and clear and good. So for those of you who watch these videos hoping to get a morsel of writing advice out of it, there you go. Sometimes having it like this can be good. It's good to have sentence variety, but this one just stands out to me as this was not necessary and could have been shortened, because the point of the paragraph, I'm sure, is not going to be the way that Dorian is standing against the door frame.
Yeah.
She'd been playing for some time with her back to him. Of course he overhears her playing piano.
This is right out of fucking 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, gender swapped. Also, it's a piano forte. Everyone on that floor is going to be hearing her play that shit, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I'm no musician, but forte means loud.
Well, there's, piano forte just means it's big.
Oh, okay.
But, pianos are kind of notoriously loud. And, this is a castle. Assumedly, the insulation isn't super great, especially because it's made of glass.
Well, I think they're in the stone part, but still.
But even then, in the stone part, it's not well insulated. Everyone's gonna hear that.
Also, sound waves travel through physical objects,
Well, no. I'm talking about echoing.
Yeah, yes. Sorry, I'm not phrasing myself very well, but castles, generally echoey places.
Mm-hmm.
Does every room have a fucking piano in it?
Everyone playing the pianos simultaneously in every room of the castle.
This kills the king.
That's how we get rid of the king, boys.
He wondered when she'd notice him, or if she'd ever stop at all.
She's playing the piano. She's not going to be turning around.
He wouldn't mind listening forever. He had come here with the intention of embarrassing a snide assassin, and had instead found a young woman pouring her secrets into a pianoforte.
How would he know that? How would he know that she's not just playing it because she knows how to play and she likes playing it?
Now I'm just imagining that
unless she's like actively whispering her secrets to the piano.
I am imagining two things at once, and they're very conflicting thoughts. First, I'm imagining the SNL skit Wells for Sensitive Voice. What did he put in it? A secret. And the other thing I am imagining is that fucking ragtime, do 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 do. I'm like, what if that's what she's like?
He's like, she's pouring her secrets into the piano. She's like knocking out chopsticks.
Dorian peeled himself from the wall. Oh my god. Maybe it's because I'm already a little giggly from our previous silly imaginings. Our funny little family cutaway gag. But I don't think I said that
Family
right. Family Guy cutaway
gag.
Yeah. But he peeled himself from the wall.
Audible sentences you can hear. Sticky. What the fuck was on? What was on that wall, man? Like, were you sweating against it? Like, you good? You need to go shower?
And this is why we don't overuse a thesaurus, alright? There is connotation to consider when choosing your words.
Drew away from the wall. Drew away.
Yeah, or like, just... You don't even have to say that. You could just move on to the next sentence, because it's implied if he's approaching her, as one would assume that he is, to talk to her. Mm-hmm. You don't have to say he left the doorway, because we can infer that from the fact that...
Well, no, Sarah J. Maas wants to pad out this book. She wants, 500 pages. So, like I said, if you wanna keep the wordiness, just say he drew away from the wall.
Yeah.
It's much less audible.
And this is also going to be one of those do as I say, not as I do moments, because I know I'm not a perfect author. I know that I over-describe things at times. Again, this is something that my editor would probably suggest just be omitted.
Yeah.
So I have to say something, and it's like, yeah, you'll catch me making these kind of mistakes in my books too, but mistakes happen. I try to be better each time.
They are mistakes, and also we are not like best-selling authors.
Yeah, but also I'm not on the New York Times bestseller list, so...
Well, I mean, the New York Times bestseller list, so you can buy your way onto that now. It doesn't mean anything, but she is a best-selling author, so we're just like... We're indie self-published people.
Yeah, like, I'm just doing my fucking best out here. I don't have, like, a team of editors at a publishing house going over my shit. I have one very awesome editor.
Allegedly, a team of editors. I don't think Sarah J. Maas's books get edited all that much.
Yeah, anywho. For all her assassinating experience, what a weird way to phrase that.
For all her assassin experience. That's all you gotta say.
Assassinating experience. She didn't notice him until he sat down on the bench beside her.
Oh, well, that's just her being dumb.
Okay, there we go. We're back to the bullshit. You play Bew. Her finger slipped on the keys, which let out a loud, awful clank. And she was halfway to the rack of cue sticks when she beheld him. He could have sworn her eyes were damp. What are you doing here? She glanced to the door.
It's his castle, man.
Was she planning on using one of those cue sticks against him? Kaol isn't with me, he said with a quick smile. If that's what you're wondering. I apologize if I interrupted. He wondered at her discomfort as she turned red. It seemed far too human an emotion for Adderlin's assassin. Perhaps his earlier plan to embarrass her wasn't foiled yet. But you were playing so beautifully that I... It's fine. She walked toward one of the chairs. He stood, blocking her path. She was of surprisingly average height. What the fuck does that mean, Goofy?
You've been around her for multiple times. Like, what? You know how tall she is. Hello?
What a fucking non sequitur.
It's just like him suddenly remarking on the fact that she's blonde. It's all like...
You knew that, bitch. What the fuck?
You good?
He glanced down at her form. Average height aside, her curves were enticing. What are you doing here? She repeated. Okay, and I gotta... She's not even, like, short. She's average. Like, and I'm in just kind of, like, a headspace in a mood for one of my books in particular right now, so everything is kind of filtering through that. But, like, okay, for Like Falling Stars, Nicholas does point out a few times that Anne is very small compared to him. But that's because Anne is actually unusually small. She is 4 foot, she's under 5 feet.
Yeah.
And he's like 7 feet tall.
He's tall.
He's
a tall
He's
boy.
very tall and she's very small, and I love that for them. It makes sense that he remarks on, at least, in his own head, that she is so much smaller than he is. Because it's a noticeable contrast. And even then, he usually only brings it up because he's like, oh, well, her presence is usually so large that I forget how little she actually is. Here, it's just coming out of fucking nowhere.
He's just all like, she's of average height, but her tits are great.
Yeah, I guess she's got her tits back.
Despite all the throwing up she's been doing, she throws up every meal.
All of her weight gain has been in her boobs.
As you do.
As you do. And I'm like, why is he bringing this up? What... How does this tell us anything about either character?
Doesn't. Just talking about character description, and also she's got her tits back. That's it.
And even that, we're extrapolating. We're putting work in to draw that conclusion.
Well, he said her curves were enticing, so either she's got a butt, which...
Of course she probably does.
Seems like she did lament her lack, losing her womanly curves before, so assumedly she got them back.
Yeah, it's just is that it? Why does her height play into that? Like,
I don't know.
What the fuck am I reading?
It's just a descriptor.
What does this mean?
It's just a really bungled, thrown in descriptor.
Like, again, I will make fun of my own writing. I will call myself out on not being subtle at all, because I got that tism riz. But oh my god, at least I'm not doing this. He smiled roguishly. We decided to meet tonight, don't you remember? I don't, but I'll trust the book on that one. I thought it was a joke. I am Crown Prince of Aderlin. Not I'm the Crown Prince, just I'm Crown Prince of Aderlin.
Grammatically incorrect. Anyway.
He sank into a chair before the fire. I never joke.
That's a
Patently
lie.
false. You have joked many times. That's a lie.
Dorian, I'm gonna hold your hand for this.
You do nothing but joke.
You're telling lies again, boy.
Boy, you're telling stories. Bullshit.
Anyway.
Are you allowed to be here? Allowed? Again, I'm a prince. I can do what I like. Patently false again.
Well, I mean, he can do what he like in this castle. Because, it's his castle.
Well, okay, I guess he can do what he likes for now because the king's not here.
Yeah.
But the king does not give me the vibe of letting him have free reign. Pretty sure he has orders to follow.
Well, he certainly can't kill a guy, but, generally.
Yeah, just, ugh. Yes, but I'm Aderlin's assassin. he wouldn't be intimidated, even if she could grab that billiards cue and skewer him with it in a matter of seconds. I forgot I have a water bottle here, and I need a little drink, so I'm going to...
A little drinky.
Have a little sip. There we go. Fun little drinky. All right, now that we're hydrated again. From your playing, it seems that you're a great deal more than that. What do you mean? Well, he said, trying not to get lost in her strange, lovely eyes. I don't think anyone who plays like that can be just a criminal. It seems like you have a soul, he teased.
I'm just over here like, does he think that, like, living a life of crime means you don't have hobbies?
Sir, I don't know if you've ever been to a tavern. But there's usually some music there.
You have a soul, like every other person on the planet.
I'm gonna hold your hand when I say that.
Real fucking main character syndrome. I'm so fucking tired.
Babe, I'm so sorry. You're about to agree with Alexis.
Oh, well. At least a broken clock being right once a day, or twice a day, rather.
Of course I have a soul. Everyone has a soul. She was still red. Had he made her that uncomfortable? He fought his grin. This was too much fun. How'd you like the books? Oh, careful, Prince. You might be getting a little close to making a joke there. They were very nice, she said quietly. They were wonderful, actually. I'm sorry, didn't we open this with her
saying that the
ending sucked? Yeah, what the fuck? So everyone's just telling lies in this chapter. That's what the title of this one's gonna be. Lies. Lies and deceit.
Lies and deceit.
I'm glad. Their eyes met, and she retreated behind the back of the chair. If he didn't know better, he would have thought himself to be the assassin. How's training going? Any competitors giving you trouble? Excellently.
It's probably because you're coming off as kind of a fucking creep right now, dude.
Yeah, like, you got right up in her business. Like, what on earth possessed you to sit next to her on the piano bench? That's kind of fucking weird.
Yeah. Well, just in general, he's, like, trying to corner her, and I'm just like, hello? Like, I get it, she's an assassin, she can fight back, but at the same time, it's like, if she wasn't an assassin, like, and even if she is, literally any woman would be uncomfortable in this situation. You're trying to freaking corner her. Yeah, like, no, we don't like that. But yeah, it's literally also just... Sorry, I just spat out a word salad of processing. The fact that she is an assassin should be cueing him to give her a little more space, because if you corner anybody, they're going to react badly. Yeah. And her reacting badly could get him killed. Yeah. So, everyone is stupid. Excellently, she said, but the corners of her mouth drifted downward. And no, after today, I don't think any of us will be giving anyone any trouble. It took him a moment to realize she was thinking of the competitor who had been killed while trying to escape. She chewed on her bottom lip, quiet for a heartbeat, before she asked, "Did Kale give the order to kill Sven?" Oh my god, that's right. This is the same fucking day. Yeah. We have been on the same day for so long. So much has happened that... Yeah, no wonder Kale, whatever. No wonder he flipped his shit when he saw her sparring with Nehemia. They killed a guy on this same day. Mm-hmm. They just killed a dude. Like... I thought it was a new day because holy shit, would that be very stupid to have happen on the same day? I overestimated SJM's intelligence. Never do that. No, he said. My father commanded all the guards to shoot to kill if any of you tried to escape. I don't think Cole would have ever given that order, he added, though he wasn't sure why.
but the unnerving stillness in her eyes abated at least. When she didn't say more, Dorian asked as casually as he could, "On that note, how are you and Cole getting along?" Of course, it was a totally innocent question. She shrugged, and he tried to not read too far into the gesture.
"Fine. I think he hates me a bit, but given his position, I'm not surprised."
"Why do you think he hates you?" For some reason, he couldn't bring himself to deny it.
"Because I'm an assassin, and he's captain of the guard, forced to belittle himself by minding the would-be king's champion."
"Do you wish it were otherwise?" He gave her a lazy grin. That question wasn't so innocent. I'm lost. Lost in the fucking sauce here. Everyone is trying so hard to convince themselves that Cole likes her. And even she's like, "Nah, I don't think he likes me very much."
And even Cole was like, "I don't like her very much."
Also, I know why in a meta sense. Why are we asking these questions? Because we gotta push that love triangle. But why is Dorian asking these questions? Like, is there nothing more important that he could be doing right now? Because all of his
Clearly
questions,
not.
all of his dialogue so far in this chapter has been banal as shit. Like, this is just the, "Hey reader, send in your questions and let's really just over-explain and clarify everything that Alyssocles feels about the characters right now." Dorian here feels like a sock puppet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this could be anybody. This could be her fucking maid asking her these questions.
Yeah.
She inched around the chair, coming closer to him, and his heart jumped a beat.
"Well, who wants to be hated? Though I'd rather be hated than invisible, but it makes no difference."
She wasn't convincing.
You'd rather be hated than invisible, and this is why you're a bad assassin.
You're terrible at this. "You're lonely?" He said it before he could stop himself.
"Lonely?"
She shook her head, and finally, after all that coaxing, sat down. He fought against the urge to reach across the space between them to see if her hair was as silky as it looked. Dude, boundaries.
Boundaries.
"No, I can survive well enough on my own, if given proper reading material."
He looked at the fire, trying not to think about where she'd been only weeks before and what that kind of loneliness might have felt like. There were no books in Endovier. Still, it can't be pleasant to be one's own companion at all times.
Wasn't she, like, in a jail with, like, a fuck ton of other prisoners? She wasn't really alone, was she? If anything, it was probably kind of crowded.
"And what would you do?" she laughed.
It's even sneaking into the narration.
"I'd rather not be seen as one of your lovers."
And what's wrong with that?
"I'm already notorious as an assassin. I don't particularly feel like being notorious for sharing your bed."
Except you're not notorious for being an assassin. No one knows who you are here.
He choked, but she went on.
"Would you like to explain why, or would you like me to explain why, or is it enough for me to say that I don't take jewels and trinkets as payment for my affection?"
I'm so lost. I don't know what is happening or why right now. This is so draining to get through.
I can feel myself actively falling asleep.
I'm bored. I'm confused. Why are they having this conversation? What are they even talking about? What is this? This is like Solomon Kane all over again.
Actively forgetting where we are.
I don't remember
what's going on.
how we got here. I'm reading it out loud. I have to be paying attention to the words I'm saying. I'm doing character voices. I could not tell you what they're having a conversation about. What are they talking about? The fuck is happening, Goofy? Help. Send help. He snarled. I'm not going to debate morality with an assassin. You kill people for money, you know. Just the way he emphasizes, you kill people for money. As if there's a morally righteous reason to kill people. What the fuck is going on? The whiplash. What the hell? Why? Why is he reacting this way? Why are either of them reacting the way that they're reacting? This entire scene is so confusing.
This is very badly written.
I'm confused. Maybe someone in the comments can help explain this to me, but I am legitimately lost right now. I have no idea what either of them are going to say next, or how the other one will react. I have no clue.
I'm sure she's gonna say something about his wealth or whatever. I don't know.
Her eyes became hard. Get that checked out. And she pointed to the
Some Kirishima ass. Stone eyes.
Look with your special eyes.
My friend.
You may leave now.
You're dismissing me? He didn't know whether to laugh or yell. Me neither, bitch. What are you gonna do? I don't know.
Yeah, like...
What are you about? Who are you?
Where are we? Where am I? Who am I?
The fuck is happening?
I'm actively coming down with dementia.
I would say I'm disassociating, but if anything, I am all too aware of where I am right now. I don't want to be here.
Shall I summon Cole to see what he thinks?
She crossed her arms, knowing she had won. Perhaps she'd also realized that there was fun to be had in riling him, too. Yeah, like, they're playing this off like they're like, oh, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna rile you up. And I'm like, no, I don't think that's what either of you are doing. I think you're both just kind of talking past each other. I don't think you have internalized a single thing the other person has said this entire conversation.
This is, like, the worst kind of banter. And it sucks because I love banter. In real life and also in fiction. And this is just bad banter.
Yeah, like, they just keep... Like, I don't know, dude. Like, this does not seem like a conversation that they are having together. It seems like they are each having a conversation with a different version of the other person that they have concocted. Like, it feels like they're imagining how a conversation would go and responding to that instead of actually responding to what the other person is saying.
Yeah.
What the fuck is happening? It's so jarring. Why should I be thrown from your rooms for stating the truth? You just called me little more than a whoremonger. He hadn't had this much fun in ages. What do you mean he's having fun? He was snarling and said he didn't know if he was gonna laugh or yell. What the fuck do you mean he's having fun? Am I just too autistic for this? I feel like that's not the problem.
Okay, I feel like what Sarah J. Maas is trying to go for is that this is supposed to be banter, and they're, like, playfully bickering with each other and teasing each other and trying to get, like
a
reaction out of each other, but they both are aware that it's, like, playful. But that's not how she's writing it. Like, you know, when I mess with you, and you're like, oh no, ah!
Yeah, and it's very obvious that we're playing.
Yeah, and it's like a play thing. But I feel like that's what she's trying to portray, but is failing really miserably because she has no idea how to write a reaction that comes off as faux offense.
Yeah, like, the things that they're saying are not playful banter things. Like, he's asking, why do you think Cole hates you? Like, there is no...
And she's like, and she calls him a whore. He said whoremonger, but it's all like, we're gonna gender neutral the term whore. She called him a whore.
Yeah,
like... And then just... And then he's all like, well, you kill people for money. And I'm all like,
These are not playful banter words.
These aren't fun little messing with people things. This is like trying to be nasty and then being all like, oh yeah, I'm getting off on this. And I'm like, okay, I mean...
What the fuck?
Okay.
Respectfully, what the fuck? Yeah, okay, I had to go back. I have to track this conversation because it's not computing. Mm-hmm. And... we can have the playful banter right up until after today. I don't think any of us will be giving anyone any trouble. Did Cole give the order to kill Sven? Like, we've quit bantering at that point.
Yeah, because we're talking about, like, murder now.
Yeah, like, if we're having a regular... Like, if we're meant to take these characters at all seriously in any context...
Are we having an adult conversation now?
Yeah. We are now bringing up...
the murder of someone and the execution of another.
Yeah, and talking about, no, Cole wouldn't give that kind of an order. This came from the king. And she's like, and he says, yeah, on that note, how are you getting along with him? I'm not back in banter mode. Yeah. All right, we just killed that vibe. We shot that vibe full of more arrows than that guy. Yeah. Like, we're not bantering anymore.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, no, like, Cole kind of hates me, I think, given that, you know, he's the captain of the guard and I'm an assassin. Yeah, he doesn't like me very much. And she spells that out because Dorian can't fucking figure himself out.
Dorian needs his hand held.
But even then, he's like, oh, he's not going to deny it. He's not going to... Yeah, he says he cannot bring himself to say that Cole doesn't hate her. And... yeah, this is not a banter conversation anymore. They're having a legitimate discussion about, like, emotional issues.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Totally fine for them to actually have a deep conversation with each other.
Yeah.
And talking about, he's like, oh, you're lonely? Like, what's going on? And then she tries to, you know, then she tries to bring it back to the banter and calls him a whore. But the way he responds to being called a whore is that he snarled and says, I'm not going to debate morality with you. That's not banter.
Yeah, that's getting actually upset. And now they're trying to, like, say, oh, but he's not actually upset. It's like, no, he got upset. Yeah. He got mad.
I'm like, now you're swerving away from what, again, was a really poorly written, but should have been an impactful conversation for the two of them. And now you're just trying to go back to the previous vibe of before they brought up the dead guy. And it doesn't work. None of this works. Yeah. I hate this. Tell me about your life. How you learned to play the pianoforte so masterfully. And what was that piece? It was so sad. Were you thinking about a secret lover? He winked. Secret lover.
Secret lover.
I practiced. She stood, walking toward the door. And yes, she snapped, I was.
So we're back to... So we're not bantering anymore. She is legitimately upset because she was thinking about fucking Sam. Mm-hmm. And he interrupted her reverie about Sam. So she is mad.
Oh, the next line's gonna piss you off.
You're quite prickly tonight, he said, trailing her. Dude, don't follow her. He stopped a foot away, but the space between them felt strangely intimate, especially as
she's by the exit.
Yeah.
So...
especially as he purred. You're not nearly as chatty as you were this afternoon. Why is he purring? And I'm not going to do one of those stupid things where it's like, oh, real people don't growl and hiss their sentences because it's meant to be evocative, you dumb shits. Like,
yeah.
God, have some whimsy.
Yeah, but
But why is he purring?
He straight up did the, like, thing where they got, like, actually pissed off with one another, and now he's going back to, well, why are you getting so emotional about it? Why are you getting so mad? We're just bantering. And it's like, no, you're not bantering. This is badly written and you're stupid.
Yeah, because at first it was like, oh, she'd realized there was fun to be had riling him up. It's like, but she's not. Right? Like, maybe summoning Cole was like her, but then, like, the next line from her is that she's still pissed off.
Yeah.
So what the fuck? What is the tone? Pick one. Pick a tone and stick to it.
The moral of this chapter is that SJM can't write banter.
The moral of this chapter is that I feel significantly less bad about my middle school writing. Because I was, like, looking it over so I could be mentally prepared for when I have to read that shit out loud to you, because it is shit. And I was mentally preparing myself for that by going over some of it, and I was cringing so hard and being like, this is such bad writing and so much mood whiplashing all over, but hey, at least I was, like, 12 when I wrote that. And it's not a published novel that people spend money on and rave about.
Anyway.
Because this is about as bad as my middle school writing. Legitimately. Like, this whole exchange here, like, I am thinking of a scene in particular from that middle school draft that reads like this.
Oh boy.
So yeah, I am as hard on my own shit as I am on this book. It was shitty when I did it, and it's shitty here. The difference being, I was like 12.
And this is a published...
And this is a published book by an
novel. that hopefully, probably not, but hopefully had editors.
There are editors credited in the acknowledgments.
What did they do? Did they just get really high before they read this chapter?
I think they just fixed typos.
Yeah.
I think that was their only job, was just don't change anything. Just put the commas where they need to go and fix any typos. And they have not... I will say this much. As far as Throne of Glass goes, there are not nearly as many M-dashes as there are in A Court of Thorns and Roses. So maybe that was their job, was cutting down on the number of M-dashes. Because I have noticed... there's only a couple per chapter.
Okay.
Instead of multiple per page. Anyway.
I'm not some odd commodity that you can gawk at.
She stepped closer.
I'm not some carnival exhibit, and you won't use me as part of some unfulfilled desire for adventure and excitement, which is undoubtedly why you chose me to be your champion.
Yeah, she is like legit mad.
Yeah.
His mouth fell open, and he conceded a step. What? Was all he managed. She stalked past him and dropped into the armchair. At least she wasn't leaving. Is she allowed to leave?
I don't think so.
Like, I know she was heading for the door, but I just assumed it was the door to that room, not to...
Yeah, I don't know.
Because, to my knowledge, she's not allowed to just walk around the castle as she pleases.
I don't super recall the layout of her room. So, yeah.
Did you honestly think I wouldn't realize why you came here tonight? As someone who gave me the crown of a hero to read.
Oh, we get a book name! We got a title drop!
Wow!
Wow, the book she was reading was The Crown of a Hero. Okay, we have... I'm gonna extrapolate that that's propaganda of some kind.
Or, something either like... I assume high fantasy.
Yeah, but like, clearly there's some divine right to rule insinuated by that title. So I'm like, okay, you know, so it's definitely sounds monarchist.
I don't know, don't you really like heroes becoming kings?
I do.
Don't you have a certain hero king that you just love with all of your heart?
I do. God, I wish he was here instead. I can't even, like, insert him into any of these characters because he's just that much better than all of them. Marth would never.
Marth would never do this.
Like, this is the enemy kingdom that Marth is coming to overthrow. Like...
As someone who gave me the crown of a hero to read, which suggests a rather fanciful mind that yearns for adventure.
I don't think you're an adventure, he muttered.
Oh, the castle offers so much excitement that the presence of Aderlin's assassin is nothing unusual, nothing that would entice a young prince who's been confined to a court all his life.
Is she really like armchair? Literally sitting in an armchair while she armchair psychologies this dude.
Yeah.
She's all like, you recommended me an adventure book, so clearly. He's just so like, I just gave you a book, man.
Good God.
Jesus.
And what does this competition suggest for that matter? I'm already at your father's disposal. I won't become his son's jester, too.
Jesus Christ.
Read him for filth. It was his turn to blush. Had he ever been scolded by anyone like this? But why?
But why?
Why is this happening?
Why?
His parents and tutors, perhaps, but certainly not a young woman. Don't you know who you're talking to?
My dear Prince.
My dear Prince Brogan.
My dear Prince Brogan.
It comes back. It's full circle. She drawled, examining her nails.
You're alone in my rooms. The hallway door is very far away. I can say whatever I wish.
I don't think so, because he's still the prince.
He burst out laughing. She sat up and watched him, her head tilted to the side. Her cheeks were flushed, making her blue eyes even brighter. Did she know what he might have wanted to do with her if she wasn't an assassin? Do you? Why are you here? I'll go, he said at last, stopping himself from wondering if he could actually risk his father's and Cole's wrath, and what might happen if he decided to damn the consequences. What does this mean?
What does it mean, Goofy?
I'm so confused. I don't like it. But I'll return soon.
I'm sure,
she said dryly. I don't know what's happening to my harpy shrill. It's not as shrill as it used to be.
That's because your soul is dying.
It is, actively. Thank God we're almost done. Good night, Sardothian. He looked around her rooms and grinned. Tell me something before I leave. This mystery lover of yours, he doesn't live in the castle, does he? He instantly knew he'd said the wrong thing when some of the light vanished from her eyes.
Good night,
she said a bit coldly. Dorian shook his head. I didn't mean to. She just waved him off. What do you mean you didn't mean to? Looking toward the fire, understanding his dismissal, he strode to the door, each of his footsteps sounding in the now too silent room. He was almost to the threshold when she spoke, her voice distant.
His name was Sam.
Oh my God, we're really doing this, huh? She was still staring at the fire. Was Sam. What happened? She looked at him, smiling sadly.
He died.
Why is she smiling?
Sadly.
I know, but why smiling at all? Why not just frowning?
Yeah.
Usually if you're smiling sadly, which, yeah, okay, fine, it's a cliche. I use it too, fuck it, it's fine.
Nostalgia.
But yeah, like
if you're experiencing nostalgia, you tend to smile sadly.
Like nostalgia, or like something bittersweet, like you want to be happy for someone else even though you know that you're giving up something, like... Yeah. You wouldn't be smiling sadly if you're thinking about your dead boyfriend, who apparently the loss of is still so deep that you're flipping out at the crown prince about it. Like, why isn't she just frowning? I don't... When he got out, he would have never teased her like that, never said a damn word if he'd known. Her words were strangled as she said,
13 months ago.
Just say a year, bitch. He's not a baby.
Just say over a year. Or shortly before I was captured.
Yeah. 13 months. What the fuck?
13 months.
A glimmer of pain flashed across her face, so real and endless that he felt it in his gut. I'm sorry, he breathed. She shrugged, as if it could somehow diminish the grief he still saw in her eyes, shining so bright in the firelight.
So am I,
she whispered, and faced the fire again. Sensing she was truly done talking this time, Dorian cleared his throat. Good luck at the test tomorrow. She didn't say anything as he left the room. He couldn't banish her heart-wrenching music from his mind, even when he burned his mother's list of eligible maidens, even when he read a book long into the night, even when he finally fell asleep. And what was accomplished in this chapter? Fucking nothing.
We just talked about Nothing.
Dorian now knows about Sam. I'm sure this will have consequences on the plot. Oh my god, my fucking brain is melting. Jesus Christ, I need a Jolly Rancher. Okay, that's gonna be all for today. This episode was so much longer than it needed to be. This whole chapter didn't need to be here. I hope you guys enjoyed our suffering.
This one was added in post.
Yeah, just, my god. At least chapter 21 looks like it's super short.
Yep.
Anyway, we'll catch you in the next one.
Bye!
Thank you so much for watching, and a special thank you to my patrons. If you'd like to see your name here or in the description below, please consider joining my Patreon. Your support means so much to me and allows me to continue making content. If you want to support my content in different ways, consider buying my books, donating on Ko-fi, subscribing to the channel, or even just giving this video a like and comment. Any and everything is appreciated so much. Keep growing till next time, Rose Garden!